to.
There we go.
Good evening and welcome to this week's Weaving Web3 with me, James.
Me, Chris.
And me, Stash.
We are all in a fun, lovey, happy mood because we've not seen each other for 2 weeks. Massive apologies for not having an episode last week. We will make up for it. We'll do some shorts. We'll do lots of other bits. We're still going to do 52 episodes a year because we'll do some when we go to Germany. So we'll top back up.
Wait, we haven't announced that yet.
Okay. We won't be doing that. We'll never do that. We hate Germany. We'll never go. But when we
love Germany though for other reasons.
Little teasers we're throwing out. But no, this week we're going to talk about the upcoming ETH update, which should be live by the time you're hearing this in your ears. Which is Shanghai is the main big one, and then there's also Stash told us Shapala, which is a little smaller bit. I want to moan about Elon Musk again because I think he does a lot of market manipulation. We'll get onto that in a minute. And then the other thing we need to do is we need to open up our Doodles Genesis box.
And fingers crossed we get an NFT that's worth 10 grand.
Yeah, and if we don't, me and Chris will blame Stash, but as per.
It will be all Stash's fault.
And if we win, Stash won't ever let us forget it, so that's fine. Yes. It's a great system.
It's just such a healthy relationship we have.
Win-win.
Exactly. It feels abusive, but it isn't. Anyway.
Not.
Having just had a go at you, Stash, please can you let me and Chris and everyone listening know what is going on with the Shanghai update? How does that affect ETH? What's going on?
So basically, the last big thing that happened to ETH was the merge to proof of stake, the more sustainable option of blockchains, because proof of work was a big no-no and everyone was like, it's bad. And yeah, it's true. So the drum roll, please, everyone that's been staking for the last 2 years will be allowed to have access to their ETH. Is this good or bad?
Oh, I've got some ETH staked, and I bought the ETH for £875. So
you're loving life. So you've done a 2x. You've done a 2x.
I'm 2x my money.
Boys, this is my only win. Let me have it. But to be fair, my Bocky sold for more than I bought it for.
Well, there you go. Perfect.
But I think that sold more fiat value, and part of that's because the ETH had gone up. But anyway,
so basically,
how much ETH is it?
So we have 34 billion worth of Ethereum ready to be unlocked. It's not all going to be unlocked straight away, but if you think about in the terms of liquid assets that are going into the market, and a lot of them due to the recent rise in ETH prices could potentially mean there's going to be a massive sell-off. If you think about certain investors have been staking for 2 years, and some people bought at when it was at the low lows, people are going to be wanting to take some profits, and that could have a drastic impact. But as well, people want to be staking their assets all over again. And there are way more better options now in the 2 years since proof of stake, basically called liquid staking, where you can essentially stake your assets, but they're still liquid and you're able to trade them, as well as you don't need 32 ETH to stake it. You can be your own basically validated on, let's say, my favorite project that I participated in the ICO 2 years ago, Stada. Basically, they're a multi-chain liquid platform. You only need, I think it's going to be 4 ETH to create your own node and stake compared to the 32. And as well as you need a 0.2 or 4 of their native token Stada to bind to your node in order to receive the rewards, which could potentially be a massive uprise in a buying pressure on that token. So potentially all these kind of tokens that offer liquid staking, there's like Rocket Pool, there's Lido, like loads of other ones. So there could be potentially a massive influx into these liquid staking platforms, and those native tokens would drive up, as well as there could be a massive sell-off in ETH because people want to take profit. So
what you're saying is
there's going to be a high period of volatility. That's what I think.
Price of ETH down, other tokens,
potentially, yeah, people might be taking profits into altcoins or just taking profits completely.
How much? So 34 billion you said is unlocked. People can take it out.
Will be unlocking.
How much have people sort of? Can you already
Yes, so there's basically a website you can already check. I can post, what was it called?
Token.unlocks.app/Ethereum.
There you go, I sent it to you. So, and you can check that people have already pre-unstaking their ETH. It's about 300K, right?
It is at 555 million.
But 300K.
300K. Yeah. So it says here, total deposited was 18 million ETH. So, not gonna lie, if only 300K is being withdrawn, that's
the second it unlocks. People are probably going to be unlocking over the next few days.
Because I think it's 16% of total ETH supply.
Yes, staked.
Is in the Shang. Is currently staked.
Yes.
But do you think there'll be a mass sell-off? Because they're still offering like 4% a year.
Yes,
aren't they?
But if you think about, a lot of people need those funds. A lot of these were like big companies, and some people, I think, aped into staking their ETH without realizing that they're gonna have to wait 2 years. And
yeah,
it was all like very like new and exciting, and 2 years for potentially a double in your money and triple in some cases. I think I would be a smart man and cash out now, because we've been on a pretty high going up, and there's personally, I think there's good. This is not the bull market by far. Where the whole economies all over the world, like the UK economy has shrank this year by 0.2%. I think we were like the worst of the G27 countries. So
yeah,
if these kind of countries are not going well,
shit, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of bad policies, and people in the UK are struggling for money, aren't they?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Everyone's bills are going up. This is worse than the recession we had in 2008. I think, genuinely, because the recession in 2008 was financial. This is like energy.
Everything.
Like,
yeah.
but the energy.
Yeah.
Well, when I say energy, I mean like
getting things in from Europe as well. Like
energy, energy and food are the real things that hit people the hardest, because they are absolutely essentials. Like the housing market crash. Okay, well, actually, what happens is a lot of people sat on their houses even though they had negative equity, because then you can't sell it, because you're going to sell it at a big loss to buy a similar house. So you just sit there and pay your interest and do whatever. But it's like you're locked into that. That is what it is. And the fact that your house is now worth less than you paid for it is a bit rubbish, but you have to deal with it. Whereas when fuel, gas, electric, and food to fuel your body all skyrocket in price, you have no choice. There's no, I'll just sit and pay off my loan or whatever. It's like, what? No, it all costs more. We all pay more.
I will die. I will literally freeze to death if I don't heat my house, sort of thing. Like,
and that's the reality for a lot of like pensioners, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They sit there and they have to have that heating on. And a lot of people with like young families, if you've got like a new bed, imagine if you had like a newborn, like in last winter, and you live in an old house, like a cottage. Like my manager at work lives in an old cottage, and he's like, I had log burners on. His family's not that young, but like, he was like, you have to heat the house if you've got little kids.
And then you've got like all the energy companies just raking it in, making like massive profits.
It's
I mean, that's kind of off topic from the crypto side.
Well, but it links in though, because
it's all the macroeconomics and stuff like that. It's all links in.
But also the Shanghai updates fighting against energy costs, isn't it? That's the whole reason ETH's shifting away, is all that waste and all that cost. Because at the end of the day, although Ethereum they paid the validators, right? They were also then contributing massively to global warming and a lot of energy waste they don't need to do. So it does tie in with the energy bits, but it's just, I don't know. I'm not certain. There will obviously be a liquidation. Stash is right. Loads of people have had their money locked up for a long time. Am I sure that there'll be a mass liquidation? I think a lot of people will be quite trusting in ETH and go, look, it's 4% a year. That's pretty good. I suppose the other difference is that 4% is not as good as it was, because the Bank of England's like base rate's gone up and stuff. You can actually get quite good interest in your bank now. It's not 4%, but you know that the bank isn't going to collapse.
Monzo recently, they started doing a savings thing, and I think they're giving like 3.5%.
That's what I mean, and that'll be government backed up to £80,000, and so there's a lot of other options out there now. Whereas actually 2 years ago, when interest rates were criminally low, which was obviously good for borrowing but bad if you've got spare cash, 4% was amazing.
Yeah.
It was absolutely shattering what the banks would offer you, like 0.5% or whatever they were offering.
Yeah.
So you think, that those markets have shifted a bit. So maybe we will see a mass sell-off and people go to either less
I'm not
risky
saying
assets.
the whole 34 billion is going to be liquidated, but like I'm just saying, like it is very tempting for a lot of people. I think that need
absolutely.
the cash now, because we were in the bull market when people were staking, so people would be like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to have my money," and like people need cash now. I feel like there would be a bit of a pressure.
It's really interesting to see, I think, the way that like fiat works compared to like crypto, because obviously we're going through a lot of inflation right now, right? Pack of crisps cost double what it did 2 years ago. I base inflation off packets of crisps. But yeah, like, so it's weird to see, like, because obviously crypto is quite volatile in its price, like how that translates, and if people will be more trusting in their crypto assets, like having Ethereum, or if they'll want to like convert it over to fiat, because obviously fiat is quite, as I said, you don't get what you got 2 years ago today with the same amount of money. Like,
but that's why most cryptos run as a scarce resource.
Yeah,
there might be a lot of them, but if Ethereum created, like they do create new ETH, obviously, but it's not at the same rate that like the US Treasury creates new dollars. And I get the system's a lot smaller.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, it depends on the crypto, doesn't it? Because like
I know that there's a lot of fear, especially in the US at the moment, that everything is going to blow up.
I think it was something ludicrous, like the amount of dollars in circulation. There were more created between 2020 and 2023 than were ever created before that.
Yeah, I heard that. That's crazy.
How is that sustainable? How is that sustainable? It's going to go like the bloody
but it
Zimbabwe dollar.
But that's how fiat currencies work, isn't it? Really, when you think about it, because say you earned £40,000 in 1960, I bet that's like earning £300,000 now.
Yeah,
like 40 years on. I bet it is. And then do you see what I mean? So I bet £40,000 now in 40 years' time could well be £300,000 again.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing. But that's why inflation and look at raw numbers isn't that useful. Buying power is far more useful. So it's like, when your granddad goes, "Oh, I only earned £1,000," and you go, "Yeah, granddad, you earned £1,000 in 1950. That's the equivalent
when
of
you could buy a house for 2."
Yeah.
Exactly. It's all about buying power. And like, if you put in an inflation calculator, the inflation, I think between 1960, 1970, averaged 12.5% a year.
Inflation calculator.
And it's 1670 or 1780. I can't remember. I think it's 6070. And that caused a massive issues. But it did mean, if you bought a property in 1960, by the end of 1970, that property had inflated with the other bits, and you'd had to stack more cash.
Yeah.
You still have the same house, but
so you said 40,000 in 1960.
Yeah.
40,000 in 1960 is equivalent to £742,000 today.
Wow.
That's what I mean. Like and that's the thing, is when people go, I only earn,
bloody hell,
100. I don't know. You speak to an oldie, and they go, I earn £150 a week, and you go, £150 a month, and you look it up, and you go, yeah, it's the equivalent today of £3,000 a month.
I mean,
and they don't get it, they don't see it. Yeah. But that's how fiat inflation works, and it will continue to go like that.
I mean, if we go by 2000 rates, 40 grand in 2000 is now worth 70,000. That's almost double.
Yeah, and there will be periods of high inflation. Like obviously now we've got high inflation. Say we've got high inflation year on year on year. Say it's 7%, 7 to 8% for 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah,
you would expect your salaries to go up 3, 4, 5, percent, etc. Which is, and this is where you can win in the fiat system, is if you have assets.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing with a fiat system. That's how people in the fiat system get big and get wealthy. It's not by having money; it's by having assets.
Yeah, that's the thing that Warren Buffett said. You need to get your money working for you, otherwise you could just be poor forever.
But that's why people say like a rental property, right? This is why people property. There's a charter in ancient Rome where they were kicking off about Right, boys, off topic. I'm going on a deep dive. Are you ready?
Yes, let's dive in. Come
Right, okay, economics in the fiat world. In Rome, you only used to be allowed to be in the army if you were a landowner in Italy, right? And it wasn't Italy as it is today, but in the section of Rome. The logic of that was that you would go and fight for your country, you would defend that land because your family lived there, it was your land, right? So what happens is, as the empire expands, you don't have that many landowners. And what also happens is, while you go away to fight, because actually you're a warrior some of the time, but also some of the time you're a farmer, your farm gets a bit dilapidated, or, which happened a lot, you die. What then happens is your neighbour, who's now too old to fight, but has a very successful farm and works the farm year round, looks over to your widow and goes, would you like to sell me some of your land, or potentially the whole farm? I'll pay you some money and you can retire, right? So that's what happens a lot. What that then does is now there's less and less landowners, so the army gets smaller and smaller, and the ones that are still of fighting age go out more and more, and then it snowballs. So there was a charter in wherever it was, 200 AD, of the Roman people saying, people are hoarding property, we need to stop this, because they're sucking up all the money. And you see exactly the same things today. The problem with the property, I'm sorry if that's completely off topic.
No, it sounds good.
No, it definitely isn't. It shows the repetition of patterns, right?
Oh,
History.
It absolutely is. And then what they did is they said then the landowners, then you didn't have to be a landowner to fight anymore. But it didn't stop these people who'd taken these massive tracts of land and had ripped off all these people. But property has always been that one. But like we talk about here with the inflation, say you bought a house for £200,000 10 years ago, and inflation goes up and up and up, the mortgage you've got on that property doesn't go up with inflation. So the payments get cheaper and cheaper to you over time. Even better if you rent that property out to someone, they pay the mortgage, their rates go up, your interest rate goes up, granted, but your capital doesn't go up, you're still paying it off, and at the end of it, you bought a house for £200,000, at the end of it, you've got a house for £400,000, and you've had cash the entire time. Yeah. Which is why property as an investment is pretty gold solid, like, rock solid. People love it, but that's sorry, that's
homeowner.
No, but that there is fiat economics, and that's how the rich get richer. Is they have assets, and that could be anything. It could be a business, like for example, you buy shares in Tesla, or you buy shares in Apple, or whatever. And don't even need to choose a company as successful as Apple, but you buy shares in Staples. Right, like the company Staples, right? Now, granted, they've tapered off now that it's gone not paper based anymore, but a company that was not a mega rise or whatever, but does 5% every year, you will get that return. You'll do nothing for it, even if the share price essentially with inflation stays the same. You'll have made a lot of money. So it's just having assets is massively, massively beneficial. And if you work all the time and don't have any assets in the fiat system, you lose.
I mean, personally, before I got into crypto, I was always sort of buying and selling stuff. So I did it with posters, like artwork. That's why you can probably see a few of them, like on my walls, as I said. I've said this before anyway. And comics, and I've got a load of comics. Like the money that I've spent on comics over the years, I think I've probably spent about 20 grand. Yeah. So when it comes round to it, I will want to sell them. Some of them have decreased in value. Others have skyrocketed in value. So it's as you said, those are my assets. I'm a bit more downscale from buying and selling houses.
Do you know what the thing that's really tricky is? I had a guy I knew lived around the corner from me. Him and his mate bought a house together, and they bought a 4-bedroom house. They lived in 2 bedrooms, and they rented out the other 2. Yeah. As a HMO, essentially. The 2 guys living in the HMO were paying the rent and the mortgage. Those guys could save all the money they wanted from their jobs and then go on, and then some other guys would pay for their house. So then what they both did is they both got married, went and moved in with their wives elsewhere, and now they have a house. And all they started with was I think something like 11 grand. Wow. Do you know what I mean? And it's maybe they went in for 10 grand each. Yeah. And you think they've turned that into owning a property, which granted has a mortgage on it or whatever, but it's going to pay itself off over time. And they're just well, that's fine. We pay the maintenance on it. We do whatever. And over time, it will skyrocket. So I think
we do that so we can get into the housing market.
You and Chris absolutely
could. We've in Web3 create a house, right?
I've got a house.
James, you put the investment in. Us
We
two
live
will
in it.
just squat. All right.
Oh no, this sounds great. So I put the investment in, and you two pay my mortgage. Ideal, perfect. You are then renters. That is a great system. No, I love that system, boys. Where are you renting? I'll get you a house. It will. No, but yeah, no, that's where the fiat system has to be funded by people working.
Yeah.
And just circulating money again and again and again. And all the wealthy people just have big assets that sit there and they collect people's inflated money year on year on year, and they become billionaires.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, well, that's a go around at billionaires.
Should
But,
billionaires exist? That's another topic.
Oh, here we...
well, right. So
You won't be saying that when we're billionaires.
no. Do you know what? There's only so much money a single individual could have. But what I think is difficult with billionaires is no billionaire, I'd be very surprised, maybe the Saudi kings would, but no billionaire has $1 billion in cash.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't exist. Like they have billions in assets
and items which pertain to $1 billion.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely they do. And you think, like, I don't know, you take Elon Musk, king of crypto, most of his wealth is in Tesla shares, SpaceX shares, Twitter shares. Is what he has, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why they fluctuate. The richest person fluctuates so drastically depending on how the company's doing. When Amazon was doing amazing over lockdown, right?
Jeff Bezos was number one.
Bezos was number one. Yeah, exactly.
What's tricky though, and this is what you sort of try and explain to people, is they go, well, why is Jeff Bezos paying a tiny amount in tax every year compared to his worth, right?
Yeah.
But to say that, you go, well, you're not taxed on your worth. You're taxed on your income, and you're taxed on your capital gains. So if you start Amazon and you give yourself 50% of the shares, and those shares become worth $100 billion, if you don't sell them, what are they going to tax you on? You haven't sold anything yet. Do you mean on paper it's worth that? Yeah. But you can't get taxed on your unrealized gains.
And also, if you were to sell all of 50% of Amazon shares,
it'd be great.
the share price would go.
Yeah, of course. Could you imagine the founder of the company just liquidates all his shares? Oh, I don't trust the thing anymore. Like, that would just absolutely panic. I mean, I'm sure Amazon could probably cope with him doing sell-offs, but I think that's the other thing, is that when people talk about billionaires, and I'm not backing billionaires, I think it's ludicrous, but the idea that you need to tax them harder, it's very difficult for me to sort of argue that you'd have a tax system for one set of people, different tax system for the others, but maybe we should do. You know, maybe once you get a net worth over 100 million, you have to pay a percentage of net worth.
Right? Like,
but you could.
100 million, like, I can't even fathom having like 1 million to my name. But it's 100.
It's very difficult though, because could you imagine, Chris, if you imagine, mate, you win the Euro Millions, and you decide, so you win the Euro Millions, you win 100 million quid, right? And you decide to invest in 15 startups, and one of them becomes the next Amazon, and you become a billionaire. Could you imagine the government coming over, going, Chris, you need to sell those shares, right? That you've got in that they've given you up to $1 billion. Sell those shares and give us half of it. Yeah. You would say, what sort of tyrannical? Yeah, you would, wouldn't you?
Literally.
You literally would. But that's the problem, is that's everyone's reaction. But that's what some people say. Oh, let's do that to billionaires. And you go, well, how can you make somebody do that? That's essentially you're going in. You're saying you need to. Like, could you imagine if they did that to, like, oh, you've got a house worth £1 million, right? We need to sell that and give us 500k. That'd be ludicrous. And it's the same with the shares. And I know maybe we need a different system for those billionaires. But forcing somebody to sell an asset to pay tax that they don't owe, like within the current tax systems, it just seems nuts to me, and I'm not sure anyone would go for it. But yeah. No, it is. But I do agree, though, we should not have billionaires. It's too much worth, isn't it? What is it like? Is it 1 million seconds and 1 billion seconds? Have you guys seen that?
No.
So, right, 1 million seconds in days is 11.5 days.
Okay.
Right? 1 billion seconds is 32 years. That's the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire.
Yeah.
That is astronomically different.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think some people have 100 billion.
Yeah. What's Elon Musk's net worth right now?
Although to be fair, the US do different billions than the UK do, so maybe that's not right.
Elon Musk's net worth is 188 billion US dollars.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, it's on. I can't think it through, but I think that's
all a bit crazy, right?
It's literally nuts.
When you get to that, like, what even is the point?
But the thing is as well, with all these billionaires, right? Their assets are within, like I said, they're within companies or whatever. Those companies will produce for their shareholders profit. That's what they do every year, and that profit will always try and beat inflation.
Yeah,
always. So you look at that and you think, well, they're never going to get less rich, are they? Unless the industry they're in dies off, then they don't, they don't really get less wealthy. And granted, you could do acquisitions, but you think like Elon Musk bought Twitter and everyone's like, oh, it's a terrible deal. I'm like, that money is not, it's irrelevant to him.
How much did he buy it for?
I can't remember, but
like 400 million or something, was it? Like,
but all he did was liquidate some Tesla shares, do a little bit of Doge market manipulation. He's made that money back. He's absolutely golden.
Oh, is this where you
digging
out market manipulation?
It gets me back to it though, because what are your opinions, right? So did you guys see? So this is barely crypto related, but I'm just ranting. Did you guys see the news about senators in the US selling off their shareholdings before they announced company sanctions or like things that were going to happen?
Absolutely. There was the Nancy Pelosi one where she sold 4 million worth of
well,
Nvidia,
her husband's...
and then they announced like a few days later that Nvidia aren't allowed to sell stuff to China.
Right. Yeah. Nancy Pelosi's husband is one of the most successful traders in history.
Yeah. So
I wonder why.
So would I be if my wife had an inside line to what the American, government was going to do.
Literally.
Like, that's the thing, though. Like the American government finds out, that AstraZeneca might have a viable, vaccine or whatever. Pump a load of money into them. You literally can go, okay, to the US, go, right, what we're going to do is we're going to go with AstraZeneca's virus or Moderna's or whatever's, right? As soon as you know that, she'll know it, or the senators will know it before it comes public. You just tell your husband, he puts a load of money into it, and you guarantee profit.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous, but...
No, I do agree. They shouldn't be allowed to be. I don't think they should be allowed trading for sure.
It's like what there was the other thing that they wanted to add gambling to WWE fighting, which is all scripted.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that though, isn't it? Because it's scripted. It's gonna happen like this. They've got the script.
it just blows my mind though that like there's no separation between those ultra elites being able to make decisions that affect stock markets, global economies. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, I suspect a load of American senators put money into, for example, oil companies that were going to get, well, before they went to Iraq. Dick Cheney, I don't know if let me get my facts straight here. So Dick Cheney used to work for who did he work for? He worked for a big oil group. And when the Americans invaded Iraq, he negotiated a deal for them to take on all the oil networks in Iraq. And you think, like, how is this fair? The vice president was like, I'll get this deal done with my old mates. And you just think the whole thing's so corrupt. And I saw Russell Brand talking on a podcast, and I actually have come around to Russell Brand quite a lot.
Really?
I like a bit of Russell Brand now. And he said something very interesting on a TV show. He said, the US citizens funded 2 of the global vaccines. He went, you paid for it. They were subsidized by the government, right? And the German government did AstraZeneca, I think, right? So tax money was used to invest in those products, right? The private companies take all the profit. But that's not fair. You're the investors.
That's true.
He said, you're the investors, you the state, you the people, you the taxpayer, invested in that. Why are they taking your profits? Why are they not shared? But it's your money. You paid for the research. And yes, it's for the good of the country, but he's like, but they should share those profits back. Why should they get to win off of? They're in a win-win situation.
Especially in the UK, it was what all the contracts went to the Tory mates, right?
Well, I think his was more angled at like, because I know the US
Like
and the
globally,
Germans,
right? Like,
well, the US and the Germans paid for a vaccine that then was shipped globally. Those companies made astounding profits, and the citizens that have paid for the research don't get any money back. And you think that's a win-win for those companies. And granted, it's amazing that they could do the RNA viruses. Stash could tell us far more about that than I could. But it's amazing. Like I'm sure Stash, the tech in that is pretty amazing and like mind-blowing and stuff. Granted, but still, you've got to share some of that back. So I tell you, I bet the researchers doing it didn't make a load of money.
Oh, for sure, we get paid nothing.
Well, some of them will make a load of money, I'm sure, but no, it's just I don't know. I want my corruption.
Not quite the same as the companies, the big boys.
No, the execs will sit there and take a load of profit and slap each other on the back and go, "Oh, we did such a good job." But like Steve Jobs shouting at people, "Make the iPhone better," and then just like he sells the thing, but
right.
Make it faster, make it better. Anyway, right.
Rolling over in my grave here.
Right. Getting off this topic though, we have got something exciting to do. Stash, are you prepped to open our Genesis?
Yes, I am ready and rolling. Here we go. We're going to initialize. Let's have you.
So what do we get here?
So I think we get one guaranteed like rare because they changed it. So we get a guaranteed rare and some other bits like commons and stuff like that. But these are like all unique. So and we also get a beta pass to beta test like the new stuff that comes out. Okay. So basically, all the stuff that we get here will be unique, and no one will be able to buy like when like they launch. That's what I understand.
Okay, but we can sell it.
Yeah, we can sell it. Like people are getting stuff that's worth like. I saw a tweet someone buying something for 10 grand.
If you open up that Dupe Marketeer app I just sent you as well in a link, I sent it to you on Zoom. You can see a live feed there on the Genesis box feed there of all the recent ones that have been opened with their values.
Oh,
so that last person that opened it got a 4,400. Person before that got $60. So it depends entirely what you get.
Oh my God. I mean, we're probably going to be one of those.
Knowing our luck, we will get nothing.
They're the more common ones, but they do exist.
Okay, so are we ready? I had to do this on my Dapper account because I've got Dapper.
He's going to keep the cash.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh my God, this is it. I can't wait. Come on.
The build-up's crazy. It's preparing.
It's preparing.
Ever do a YouTube face?
Well, we can't now because it's just tiny.
Do a different one. What about this one?
Are we just tiny in the corner at the moment, Stash?
Yeah, I don't know how to make it bigger.
Bigger?
Make us bigger.
Have you tried rubbing it?
Oh, wait. We need to initialize Doodles 2s with Dapper Wallet. Oh, pending. How do I make you bigger?
I don't know.
Oh, there we go.
Is it doing something?
It's pending.
It's pending. God, blockchain's so slick.
Why'd you go off it?
Oh, I didn't know. Sorry.
Initialize.
Ready. Let's
3,
go.
2, 1.
Don't anti-climax us again.
I need to confirm the transaction. 1 sec. There we go.
I love this animation.
Booting up. It was pending and now it's booting up.
Doodles is so cool though. I love the art style.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Someone got
there we go.
Open Genesis box.
Oh my God! It's doing a cool little song. It's only in my.
I cannot hear it.
Oh, damn it.
I bet I can guess what this is.
Oh!
Wow!
Wow!
Oh my god, it's exactly.
This is what I thought it was. I actually like the Explorer hat, to be fair.
I like
think
the
it's
hat.
cool.
Like, these will probably be rare, because anything rainbowy is rare.
Yeah.
Share on Twitter. Maybe
Don't
they'll
dox
follow
yourself, Stash.
me. Yeah, oh yeah. No one saw. Okay. Well, that's okay. Well, that's great.
Well, no, I'm pleased. I'm pleased with that.
100. Yeah.
It's what I thought it would be, boys. It's what I thought, and I enjoyed the reveal, and it was good, and it was in no way anticlimactic, as the sick edit will have shown you. It was cool. It flowed straight through. Could have won $4,000. Didn't. That's fine. That's crypto. It's gambling, but with pictures.
Oh man.
I'm looking through it. There's obviously. Oh my god, this guy got shafted. This guy got $80. Oh yeah, some people have made a significant buck here,
Oh yeah, definitely.
but some.
Oh
people,
man, that jetpack's $2,500.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
That's the thing. Like, there's a lot of cool items out there.
Hey, someone else just opened one, and he got $110 worth. So, I mean, so that says the equivalent of $123, 0.065 ETH. So we bought our Genesis box for.
Let's not say it.
No, go on. Tell the people we're an honest pod.
0.2.
0.2, yeah.
I was going to say, don't tell them 2 points on the Sash. Christ, I'd die.
So,
But you know what? By combining as a 3, we only take a third of the loss, which is really good.
Yeah, we literally basically got our money back. We spent basically exactly.
our money back for one. That's
Yeah. So, hold on, no. Stash has got his money back when he sells this and doesn't send us the rest.
Oh, man.
That's my handler fee.
Just while we've been away for a minute, boys, have you seen that Ghost Boys started to trend upwards again? A little bit. It's not fast, but gone from like being 0.03 to 0.04 again.
Oh damn it! I was gonna buy one when I got paid.
Oh god, 0.04. You
Oh
can
yeah.
sell-
Oh
can sell
guys,
our collectibles
we
now.
missed one massive thing. OpenSea Pro.
Oh god, yeah, we have done.
OpenSea Pro, and like they're gonna
Yeah.
they're probably gonna launch a token called OpenSea or Gems.
So there's the Genesis things. I saw all. They're obviously 0.05. Is it?
Yeah. It's only for people that use basically gems before OpenSea bought them, and or I meant during they bought them, but like a few days before they announced this. So you would be able to mint this for free if you used it before the 30th of March.
I saw a project, boys, right, and I think we need to do something clever like this. It was on trending on OpenSea at the moment. It's just a basic profile picture. Have you boys seen that?
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Wait, what is it?
It's just, there's 5,000, right? They're literally squizzly circles and like a shoulders and a circle, and that's all they are, just in different colours.
Oh.
And they're trading for like 0.08 ETH at the moment. They've done like 350 ETH in volume.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, it seems, I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool. And like there was no I didn't think there was any like particularly fancy ones or rare ones. It was literally just like 23 combos.
Back to the edit. So obviously, the Blur and OpenSea wars are continuing with the dramatic release of OpenSea Pro, which is basically an all-round trait or a sniping. To be honest, I actually like it better than. It's basically a stats platform where you can buy NFTs, sweet, basically everything that Blur does, but slightly better with better UIs. And one thing I really enjoy, it shows you how many holders like when you buy NFTs, you can see that this holder has like 12 of these NFTs, so he's controlling the floor price and stuff like that. And it's just like these little UI details that I think are important to know when you buy and trade things. And it's basically you can buy stuff from Blur and OpenSea using OpenSea Pro. So it's basically like an aggregator the same
So
as...
it's like magically GG.
Yeah, essentially. But it's like on steroids, and potentially in this corner it says we're watching what you're doing. So there's probably going to, like, in the sense of, because there's like a gem token, what the logo is, and it says we're watching what you're doing when you hover over it. So potentially there could be an airdrop, and potentially that one of the criteria, if you have the gem NFT, you could potentially, maybe it will be a multiplier. But the one thing that I'll be really annoyed at, if all the people that have traded on OpenSea prior to all of this don't get included in it, because that would be like a massive community that have been trading on it for years, and then they're like, oh, we don't care about it. If they do that, I will red X OpenSea.
I think they probably are aware that a lot of people would be.
Well, you don't know. The crypto industry are run by a bunch of idiots in some companies. The amount of decisions that they've done.
Yeah. So, in your opinion, is it worth getting one of these Genesis things?
I don't know. I'm hoping potentially they will be like, not everyone mints out, and then they'll be like, we'll open it to the public.
I mean, yeah, there's like 180,000 of them, isn't there?
Yeah, so that they might not do it at all, because also the later you mint, the rarer they are. So they have like some kind of like stats behind them. So the later they're minted, the rarer they are.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have
do that. The later they're minted, the
encourage
rarer they are.
probably to encourage. I don't know. There's some kind of mechanic that they've built in, but I don't know.
Oh no, we don't want you to get in on this until everyone else has got in.
Yeah. But I don't know. It could, like, you never know. Like, this could be a thing. Then suddenly people start buying it up. Maybe we can get one for Weaving Web3.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see if we can lose money on that as well.
We're bullish on OpenSea then. We're bullish on OpenSea, are we?
I think so. If like Blur needs to do some innovation right now, and then
Blur needs to consolidate and strike back.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
smashing, boys. Well, look, we're sorry we missed a week. We'll be back. We'll be back better. You'll get some shorts. Everyone will be happy. The world will be fab again. I can't wait to hang out with these boys some more. And we'll see you next week.
See you later.
Au revoir.